attendance and for bringing your spirit here to reside in the beautiful music that we'll get to experience here in the sanctuary this evening. Before we begin the program, I want to be sure to thank some of the many people who have made it possible for us to have this wonderful musical group here. Our season sponsors for the Abendmusik season include First-Plymouth Church, our amazing host and partner, Union Bank and Trust, the Nebraska Arts Council, the Conant Family Endowment, Lorraine Bedell Love, the estate of Norma Summerheiser, and Rhonda Seacrest. Please join me in thanking those season sponsors for their gifts. And tonight's program in particular is offered due to the concert sponsors for this particular event, John and Joan Michelson, Robert McMaster, and Maureen Ossie. Please join me in thanking them for their contributions. As you noticed when you came, no one asked you to buy a ticket, and we are so thankful due to the generosity of so many people like you from the community that we're able to offer all of our programs free. And in fact, when we collect money in our programs, we're able to use those collections to support other nonprofits in the community rather than our own. And so I am very, very thankful for all of those gifts that enable us to be an even better neighbor here in Lincoln. At the end of the program today, we'd love to encourage you to recycle your Abendmusik book in case you don't necessarily want to keep it as a souvenir, though you're welcome to keep it if you'd like. And also, at the end of the program, you'll have the opportunity to contribute to the Freewill offering, which tonight benefits our nonprofit partner, the Center for Legal Immigration Assistance here in Lincoln. And we have a representative visiting us, the executive director, who will share a little bit about the mission and outreach of that particular organization. Please join me in welcoming Mary Choate. Hi, Mary.
Hi, it's a mouthful, Center for Legal Immigration Assistance, I know. So my name is Mary Choate, as he said, and I'm Executive Director of CLIA. Let's just call it CLIA. I want to thank First-Plymouth and the program for inviting me to speak on behalf of my organization today. I love CLIA. I've been there for about 5 years. I was a staff attorney before I became Executive Director. For over 20 years, CLIA has served the Lincoln community and the refugees and immigrants in it to achieve their American dream. We have done this by providing families the means to support themselves and by reuniting them through immigration law in the process. Now, there are a large variety of cases that we see every day. They can be anyone from suffering from domestic violence. There can be also somebody who's fleeing persecution from their country, and we serve many countries. One such example in which I saw a need was in the fall of 2021 when the Afghans were fleeing their country due to the takeover of the Taliban. At the time, we had no funding to serve the Afghan population. However, I knew that it would become a problem because we are a placement state for refugees, and they would be coming as parolees. So I searched for funding, and I was able to help those Afghans coming into Lincoln. One such Afghan was Ahmed. Ahmed was a human rights activist in Afghanistan, He and his wife had created a camp to distribute food and medicine supplies as the Taliban were taking over for the displaced people who were obviously running away. They were captured by the Taliban and they were kept for 3 days. They were able to escape, and then eventually Ahmed landed himself at the airport. His wife and three-year-old daughter were left behind while he was evacuated. He's able to communicate with his wife and daughter, but he landed himself here as a parolee. He found CLIA. We were actually able to get him asylum, and we're fighting every day for them to be reunited. The system is very complex and it takes a very long time, so patience is very necessary. But with the continued help and support of the community, we're able to do this, and I can never express how grateful I am for everybody, and especially First-Plymouth and everybody involved with this church. So thank you very much.
And now I have the privilege of inviting the choir and the music that you're about to hear. I had the joy of meeting the conductor of this choir, Jennaya Robison, several years ago when she was teaching at Luther College. I actually didn't know much about her when I went that day. I was going to observe some other conductors there, so I thought. But what stuck out for me was the incredible way that she was modeling and teaching and inviting such extraordinary music from the young people she was working with. And soon after that, I said, I know you don't know me, but would you be willing to come to my church sometime? And she said yes, and the rest is history. In the meanwhile, I've had a chance to write some music for her choirs, and I've been just absolute fan of hers, and so grateful she's made this new connection with this new school and these amazing students that you're about to enjoy hearing today. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Jennaya Robison and the University of Missouri-Kansas City Conservatory Singers.
Good evening. It is indeed our great pleasure to be in truly what I believe is one of the most amazing venues in the entire Midwest, and you know this because you look like regular concert goers here. So you realize the great blessing that it is to be here at First-Plymouth. But truly, as I was telling some of my students too, that this is one of the most vibrant communities that I've ever experienced as someone coming to worship or coming to work with a choir. It's just extraordinary. And the work that you're doing in your community, I think, is at the heart of everything that you do. The program tonight I put together, and over the summer I was looking at pieces of music that I wanted to be able to get ready with this choir for a Missouri Music Educators Conference performance that we have at the end of January. And there was a piece actually that was introduced to me by a conductor in Omaha, Nebraska this summer, and it was an arrangement of the Bob Dylan Times They're A-Changin'. And so for many of you, this may have been a song that you remember during a very formative and turbulent time in the United States in the 1960s. And we believe that there are things going on in our world today that feel turbulent and difficult right now, and that through music we can talk about how we can be a force of good and social change in this world. And so the music that you will hear today really does have that common thread of how do we fight injustice and systematic oppression, and how can we do so as a way of singing that together. And so you will hear several songs that have that at its heart. The next few songs will be sung without any sort of pause. You will hear and you will know when it is your time to applaud. I promise you that. So we'll continue with Bruckner's Os Justi, which at the heart of this text is that the wise and the just speak truth. So we'll continue by speaking our truth with Os Justi. I told you that you would know when to clap. You did. You did very well. That was a graduate student. We have several areas of the conservatory represented up here. We have, will you actually raise your hand if you are part of the undergraduate population at UMKC? And then if you are a graduate student at UMKC. And then we have 6 graduate choral conductors in our midst here. If you'll raise your hand. Leah is a first-year Doctor of Musical Arts in our choral conducting program. And you will also see, will you raise your hand if you're a voice performance major at UMKC? And then will you raise your hand if you are a non-major or any other major? Yeah. So we're proud to be one of 2 public conservatories in the United States, and that the group is open to actually anyone by audition. So you will hear several soloists. You heard Chloe Wagner, who is a second-year music education major, and on the next piece you will hear Anna Mans, who is a artist certificate student. The last 2 pieces in this first half tie together because they talk about justice and coming together in times of terrible adversity and social oppression. The first is Meet Me Here from the work Considering Matthew Shepard. 25 years ago, Matthew Shepard was murdered in Wyoming, and the media attention surrounding it and the information that we received was that he was murdered because he was gay. And we are proud to be presenting the work in its entirety in March. It is an important work in our field, and I think for the entire world, because it was through this terrible tragedy that hate crime legislation was written because of the death of Matthew Shepard. And so we're proud to be able to bring a little of that story here today. And then we end our first half with William Dawson's Soon I Will Be Done, an arrangement of the African American spiritual that, although it sounds big and triumphant and like a sort of barn burner at the end of the first half, it's an exclamation of soon, very soon, if we work together, that we can bring about change. Thank you.
Whoa.
The first piece that you heard in that set was Clara Schumann's Vorwärts, which means onward, the idea that we are set on a journey to do this work. The second piece is Soli Deo Gloria, which many of us know was the motto that Bach signed his work, to God alone the glory. And for us, this is the idea of conceiving one's own personal motto. What do you want to be your legacy? These next two pieces are both composed by Kansas City-based composers. The first is the winner of a sounding board competition, which our second-year master student, Brian Wozniak, created as a way to be able to have a forum and a place for composers at UMKC to be able to have their music be heard and be sung. And this was our winner this year, called Proverb, which really deals with the idea of coming together as a community for friendship and to be able to find meaning in the work we do together. The second piece is Luminescence by Andrea Ramsey, and you will hear in this piece all different types of light. Light that's like popcorn, light that's like a thunderbolt, light that's like turning up a dimmer. And the idea in this comes to a really poignant moment when it says, "We're breathing in stillness and silence where many become one." Before we sing for you our final piece, may I just thank you so much for being such a gracious audience, and the staff and all of those people here at First-Plymouth for being such gracious hosts, making us feel so welcome. It is indeed a pleasure always to be here, and if you would like to hear us again, we are singing for the 10:30 worship service tomorrow, so we would be glad to have you there as well. The final piece is a piece that we sang in the fall and worked with the composer Jake Runestad on this piece. And I chose the piece of Jake's. I've long been a fan of his music, but the very next day after we sang a fall concert, we were to sing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony with the Topeka Symphony. And so I thought this is the absolute perfect piece for us to be able to contextualize what Beethoven was going through as he wrote this piece. Here are notes from the composer. In 1802, Ludwig van Beethoven wrote a letter to his brothers. In it, he despairs over his increasing deafness, confesses to thoughts of ending his life, and expresses his desire to overcome his hearing loss and continue his creative legacy. This letter, now called the Heiligenstadt Testament, was found after his death, having never been sent. 14 years after penning the letter, Beethoven was completely deaf. In collaboration with his disability, he continued with his art and created countless works that have become cornerstones of Western music. The work you're about to hear, written in 2018 by poet Todd Boss and composer Jake Runestad, is a musical adaptation of that letter. This new work invites you to empathize for a time with the great composer as he agonizes over the impending loss of the asset he holds most dear.
Listen.